back in Tuscaloosa since 1958, rebuilding the once proud Crimson Tide. By 1961, Bryant had recruited some incredible talent, some of the best in Alabama football history. The quarterback was Pat Trammell, the first of many greats for Bryant and Tuscaloosa. Trammell had receivers like Bill Battle, Tommy Brooker, and Butch Wilson. In the backfield, Mike Frocky and Billy Richardson ran up the yardage totals. But it was on defense where this 1961 Bama team was so impressive. This bunch gave up only 25 points the entire season. Leroy Jordan was the star, an All-American, with help from Billy Neighbors, Charlie Pell, Jimmy Wilson, and Darwin Holt. In 1961, the Tide rolled through 9 straight opponents, shutting out 5 of those teams. In fact, there was a stretch from October 21st, when Tennessee kicked a field goal, until right before the Auburn game, that no one scored, no one at all on Bama in 4 straight games. The Tide and the Tigers got together for their annual grudge match at Legion Field in Birmingham on December 2nd, 1961. It was to be one of Bama's greatest games.
Alabama Sports Network and the Paul W. Bryant Museum present Bama's Greatest Games.
Bama's Greatest Games. I'm Tom Roberts, and joining me for this visit to the 1961 Alabama-Auburn game is John Forney. John, it was one of those wonderful days for an Alabama fan.
Tom, I have to be honest. People ask me, what I remember about all the many, many years I've been involved. My favorite team is the 1961 team, and that Auburn game was sort of the climax of just a great season and a great 4 years that Coach Bryant had turned in for the University of Alabama.
Well, we'll talk about that in just a moment. I want to find out, though, this was a point I kind of had in my head. That 61 team was a favorite of a heck of a lot of folks. Why?
I think because they won the first clear national championship.
Okay.
It was certainly taken over, and I remember so vividly, I was doing the TV show with Coach Bryant, and when the Auburn game was over and we were 10-0, we felt like we were going to win the be awarded the national championship, and at that point, the bowl game didn't interfere.
Right.
You would have been. So during the day while we were at the TV station during the show, we got a wire from the MacArthur Bowl people saying that Alabama had won the MacArthur Bowl. So that was the first indication. And of course, the next day the vote came in, the AP and the UP, and it was a unanimous thing for Alabama. So that was the first clear win for Alabama of the national championship during the Bryant years, and he added to them a lot, as we know. But that team had a lot of color, and they had Trammell, the tragedy of Pat Trammell, who died 7 years later of cancer. But they had so many great players, Leroy Jordan, and you can just go down I can give you the lineup for these: Battle, Brooker, Pell, Jimmy Wilson, Jimmy Sharp, Butch Wilson, Mike Frocky, who I thought was one of the greatest runners that I ever saw.
Now, I want to talk about a bunch of those, but right now, why don't we let folks see a little bit of this one, see some of those great players in action.
I want to see them myself one more time.
Well, one note as we start this tape, this is a black and white film, and both Alabama and Auburn wore dark jerseys in this game back in 1961. Quick way to tell the difference: Bama's wearing dark helmets, Auburn's wearing white, and the Tide jerseys have solid color sleeves while the Tigers have stripes on theirs. So let's go back to December 2nd, 1961, Alabama playing Auburn at Legion Field in Birmingham. Alabama's kicking off to start this one. Ingram Colwell kicks it deep to John McGeever at the 8. He hands it to Don Macon. He's knocked down at the 21 by Tommy Brooker. Bobby Hunt's at quarterback for the Tigers. He hands it to Larry Rawson off left tackle. Bama stops him at the 25. 2nd and 6. This time Hunt fakes it to Rawson. Bobby takes it around left end. Billy Richardson drags him out of bounds at the 35. It's 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Joe Overton gets the ball. He's hit immediately, but Charlie Pell, Jimmy Wilson fumbled. Darwin Holt recovers for the Tide at the Auburn 35. Bama quarterback Pat Trammell has Mike Frocky, Billy Richardson, and Butch Wilson in the backfield with him. Here's Frocky right up the middle. He has 5 yards to the 30. Blocking up front are ends Bill Battle and Tommy Brooker. Tackles Billy Neighbors and Charlie Pell. Guards Jimmy Wilson and Jimmy Sharp. And center Leroy Jordan. 2nd and 5 now. Trammell hands it to Richardson. Again up the gut, right behind Jordan and Sharp. Billy hauls it close to the 25. 3rd and a yard. Trammell on the sneak. More than enough for a first down at the Auburn 22. Richardson's in motion. It's Frocky who gets the ball, and he gets a couple at center. 2nd and 8 for the Tide. Trammell again with Richardson in motion. He rolls out to pass. Looks to Billy at the 12. He has it, and he's out of bounds at the Auburn 10. It's first down, Bama. The Tide's rolling now, and Richardson keeps it going. Around right in, behind Pell. Billy's into the end zone. Tide goes 35 yards in 6 plays. Here's Tim Davis to kick the extra point. Alabama has a 7-0 lead after only 4 minutes. Brooker kicks off for the Tide, and Macon takes it at the 6-yard line for the Tigers. He heads to the far sideline. Frocky and Brooker hammer him down at the 26. 1st and 10 Auburn. Hunt in an early form of the shotgun gets a good bit of pressure, but gets his pass away to Larry Laster at the 34. Brooker and Holt on the tackle. 2nd and 2. Rawson off left guard. Wilson gets him at the 35. It's 3rd and 1 for the Tigers. The toss to McKeever coming to the near sideline. More than enough for the first down. Jordan hits him first. Wilson knocks him out of bounds at the 41. 1st and 10, Hunt deep again, looking to pass. Pressure from the Tide. He's off and running all the way to the Bama 47. Finally, it's Wilson who trips him up after a gain of 12 and another first down. Hunt again with a toss to McKeever, but Brooker's there to stand him up at the 44. 2nd and 7 now. Hunt fakes it right up the middle, fires to McGeever. Leroy has him at the 36, but the Tigers have just enough for a first down. Hunt rolling out this way. Here comes Bama. Neighbors and Wilson put the pressure on. Bill Rice finishes him off. The loss is back to the 44. 2nd and 18. Hunt from the shotgun. Again, Bama covers his receivers. He has to run, winds up with nothing. Rice drops him at the 44. The illegal procedure pushes the Tigers back to midfield, so it's 3rd and 23. Hunt again trying to pass with pressure. It's incomplete into a lot of Bama coverage. So it's 4th down now for the Tigers, and Bo Davis is in to punt. This one bounces at the 12, goes out of bounds at the 5, a 45-yard punt for Davis. Deep in his own territory, under new center John Olinger, Trammell takes the snap, covers up the football, winds his way out to the 10. 2nd and 5 now. Trammell the toss to Cotton Clark. Howard Simpson pops him at the 8. Coach Bryant decides to punt on 3rd down, so it's Caldwell in his own end zone. He kicks it away. Burson on the fair catch. Auburn has it in Bama territory at the 40. On 1st down, Malin Kent at quarterback gives it to Rawson up the middle. Couple of yards. Curtis Crenshaw slams him down at the 38. Kent in the shotgun snap to Rawson. He pops right up the middle. Richard Williamson knocks him down at the 31. 3rd and 1, Hunt's back in at quarterback. He gives it to Rawson at center. He has 2 yards and a first down at the Bama 30. Hunt tosses it to Jimmy Burson. He's inside the 30. Jordan and Neighbors clobber him at the 26. 2nd and 6, the deep snap to Hunt. He's looking for Macon, but he takes a lick from Battle and Jordan, incomplete. 3rd down for the Tigers. They need 6 yards. Hunt back to pass again, but Pell's after him. He throws it out of bounds, incomplete. So it's 4th down for Auburn. Woody Woodall's on to attempt a 43-yard field goal. It's short, and Bama takes over at the 20. First and 10, Trammell with a toss to Frocky, and Mike rambles around right in. Butch Wilson with a block on the corner. Frocky races upfield, a gain of 14 on the play, and a first down at the 34. Trammell to Frocky again. Nice trap block, Jimmy Wilson. Frocky's off and running to the 40, the 45, the 49, 15, and another first down. Once more, it's Frocky with the ball. He gets hammered by Simpson for a loss of 1. Clark's in motion this way on 2nd and 11. Trammell hands it to Benny Nelson. A stone wall at the 50. So it's 3rd and 9. And here's Cotton Clark right up the middle. He's to the 45, the 40, the 34-yard line. 16 yards on the play, and a Bama first down as we come to the end of the first quarter. It's Alabama 7, Auburn nothing. After a quarter, Alabama's leading Auburn, and the Tide is on the way to the first perfect regular season under Coach Bryant. John Forney, how bad was the Alabama football program before Coach Bryant got there, and just how much had he accomplished in such a short time?
Well, in the 3 years prior to Coach Bryant's arrival at Alabama, they had won 4 games, they had lost 24 games, and tied 2 games. I mean, it was the nadir of Alabama football since it began in 1892. Coach Bryant took over, changed everything, caught the imagination of the people of Alabama with his folksiness, with his charisma. And Lord knows he invented the word charisma practically, Tom, around here in Alabama. And he had a winning season the first year. He was 5-4-1. And the second year, he won 7. The third, I can't remember offhand, but this particular year, his 4th. And I remember, Tom, one thing. The previous spring, I ran into Bob Ford. He was an assistant coach on Bryant's staff and had just left them. And I saw him at the Masters in April of 1961. And I said, Bob, you know, we're going to miss you. He said, John, I'm going to miss being there. He said, I don't care what anybody tells you. He said, they're going to have one of the best football teams in history. And I couldn't argue with him when they ended the season with 11-0 and won all that.
Well, Bob Ford was exactly right. We're going to see the evidence of that as we'll check out the second quarter of Alabama and Auburn in 1961 next on Bama's Greatest Game.
Bucks.
Under legendary coach Paul Bear Bryant, Alabama had its share of great quarterbacks. But John Forney, the one we're looking at back in 1961 against Auburn, Pat Trammell, has to rank among the best ever to play at Alabama. I
don't think there's any question of that, Tom. And he was such a man. He could play offense, and he could certainly play defense.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example of that. They had a modified sort of substitution rule where one person could be substituted. And, of course, naturally, there's to protect the quarterback. So Trammell would come out and Darwin Holt would come out at the linebacking post. The other 10 players all had to stay in there and play defense as well as offense. But one thing about Coach Bryant and Trammell, his idea of a prevent defense, which has been debated a lot, good, bad, or indifferent, but Bryant's idea when he had Pat Trammell, he would put Pat Trammell in the closing moments of the game about 40 yards back of the line of scrimmage, and he just in effect dared people to get to him, and he would have taken care of them, I assure you of that.
Well, he dared people to come to him when he was playing quarterback too, because time after time in this game we see him with Auburn players hanging all over him, still getting the pass away.
And I remember we talked earlier about a throw he made to Richard Williamson, and we were close, late in the second quarter, so we were fairly close, and Trammell figured they didn't have enough time, and he thought we ought to kick a field goal. So he looks over at the bench, Bryant ignores him. And Trammell sort of signaled with his foot, you know, let's kick. And one of the other assistant coaches said, go ahead, and Trammell was mad, and he was tough. And so he took the ball from the center and went back, and he threw a ball that was on a low trajectory. It was a bullet to Richard Williamson in the end zone, and they scored. And Pat sort of put his hands on his hips and said, now you're satisfied. And left it and went off the field with the team.
Well, we're going to see that one right now. Trammell definitely going to be a star in the second quarter. Let's watch it with Bama leading Auburn right now, 7-0. Bama's moving again at the Auburn 35. Here's Clark up the middle. and he's down to the 32. We're missing part of his play, but Trammell gets it to Brooker. A pass for 9 yards and a first down at the Tigers' 23. This time it's Frocky on a sweep to the far side. Clark and Trammell lead the way. It's a gain of 12 yards all the way to the Auburn 11. Lots of movement along the line this time, but everybody gets back in time. Trammell calls his signals, gives it to Clark. He has only one, down to the 10. Second and 9. Here's the toss to Frocky. Again, Clark and Trammell lead the way, but the Tigers bring him down at the 9. So it's third down, and Trammell is going to drop back to pass. Pat's looking over the middle. He finds Bill Battle at the Auburn 1-yard line. Battle has it, first and goal, Bama. From the 1, Trammell just uses his blocking and scores the Tide's second touchdown. It climaxes an 80-yard drive in 12 plays. Davis kicks the extra point. It's Alabama 14, Auburn nothing early in the second quarter. Now the kickoff. Brooker booms it deep to McGeever at the 2. He heads to the far sideline. Rice and Jack Rutledge stop him at the 22. On first down, Hunt gives it to Ross, and he's stonewalled by the Bama defense, including Rutledge. Give him 1 on the play. Second and 9, Hunt's rolling back to pass. Rutledge right on him. He gets it away complete to Dave Edwards at the 33. First down for the Tigers. Hunt fakes it to Rawson to pitch to McGeever. Bill Oliver knocks him out of bounds at the 30. So it's fourth down, and Davis has to punt it away. Deep for Bama's Billy Richardson. He catches it at the 36, heads to the far sideline, cuts back up the middle, gets some good blocking, and he's all the way back to the Auburn 49. First down, Larry Wall on the handoff right up the middle. He gets 7 to the Tigers' 42. Second and 3, Trammell the option this way. The pitch to Wall. He gets only a yard on the play. So it's third and 2, and it's Wall for the third straight time. He goes behind Rice and Hudson Harris inside the 40. First down, Bama on the Tiger 37. Trammell's back to pass. He's looking long for Williamson, but Richards can't quite get to it inside the 5-yard line. Second and 10 now. Trammell rolling to his left, stops, and throws it for Brooker in the end zone. Hunt's there for the Tigers to break it up. So it's third down at the 37. Trammell back to pass, pumps, then finds Butch Wilson. He cuts inside, carries it to the Auburn 24. It's a gain of 13 and first down, Bama. Trammell keeps it on the option, gets 2 to the 21. Second and 8. Here's the toss to Frocky with Richardson in front of him. Mike rounds the end. Gets a great block from Trammell. Mike hauls it to the Tigers' 17. Third and 4 now. Clark goes in motion to the far side. Trammell drops back to throw. He's looking over the middle, but Frazier and Hunt are there to keep Brooker from catching it. So it's fourth down for the Tide, and here comes Tim Davis in to try a 35-yard field goal. The kick is good. Alabama now leads Auburn 17-0 with 4 minutes to go in the second quarter. Brooker kicks off again, booms it to Burson, down at the 3. Burson heads to the far side, runs into Sharp, Jordan, and Elbert Cook at the 22. First and 10, Tigers try Rawson up the middle. Sharp's there to slam him down at the 23. On second and 9, Hunt back to pass. It's Pell chasing him, gets the ball away. Nice catch by Macon on the sideline. 10 yards, first down at the 33. Hunt spins, hands to Burson, trying to come this way. Holt and Williamson stop him just behind the line. 2nd and 10, Hunt on the deep snap. He wants to throw, but no time. Rice and Rutledge there to sack him back at the 21. A loss of a dozen on the play. On 3rd and 22, Tigers kicking it away. Davis punts it for Auburn. Clark takes it at his own 41, and he's heading this way. Cotton battles his way into Auburn territory, 17 yards in the return to a Tiger 42. On 1st down, Trammell back to pass pumps, then fires to Red Wilkins. He has it at the Auburn 31, 1st down, Bama. Again, it's Trammell to Wilkins. It's a play we missed, but it's complete to the Tigers 32. And now Pat's going to throw for a touchdown, or at least try. Pat rolls back, goes toward the line of scrimmage, finally fires it. Wilkins and Oliver are there, but it's out of the end zone. Now Bama needs a 1st down, so Trammell gives it to Clark. Cotton has it at the 19. On 1st down, Trammell on the snap, up quickly. It's to Oliver, incomplete. It's another passing situation. Trammell sends Richardson in motion this way. Pat drops back, and look at him calmly throw it with 2 Tigers bearing down on him. Unfortunately, Auburn defensive backs separate Clark from the ball close to the 15. Time's running out in the 1st half. Bama at the Auburn 19. Trammell rolls back, takes his time, looks, and finds Williamson slanting across at the goal line. Touchdown, Bama. Tide goes 42 yards in 7 plays. Davis is in to kick the extra point, and Alabama has a commanding 24-0 lead. Kickoff bounces off a Tiger at midfield. He covers up. Auburn has great field position. Hunt's in the deep formation. He's dropping back to throw it long. Clark's there for the Tide to tip it. Holt intercepts it for Bama at the 10-yard line. Darwin wants a good return. A convoy of blockers in front of him. He brings it all the way back to the 43 as the 1st half comes to a close. Alabama has controlled this one. It's the Tide 24, Auburn nothing at intermission. I hope you see by now why we talk so glowingly about Pat Trammell, but John Forney, he had some darn good running backs with him, guys like Mike Fracchia, Billy Richardson, Cotton Clark, Butch Wilson. Later on, Dink Wall's really going to come on strong, but they was some pretty darn good backs.
They were great, truly great, and I'd like to say about Mike Fracchia, because he was one of my favorites.
Right.
You could see the Alabama team run out on the field, and you could just see some legs in the middle of all those legs that were just pumping a little extra. They really were. I remember that vividly. And Mike, I think, would have been, if he hadn't torn his knee up between his junior and senior year, I really think that Mike Fracchia would very likely have been a Heisman Trophy, certainly high on the list. And I never will forget Coach Connie Lashley at an outing that Coach Bryant had, told me, he says, you know, he said, if Mike Fracchia don't bust his knee up, he's the best player me and Paul ever had.
I'll be darned.
Of course, Billy Richardson was one of the prime recruits that we had to get when Coach Bryant first came back, and Dink was certainly great. Cotton Clark was a set scoring record.
To me, that's the one who was so amazing because he could do everything.
And he just went straight ahead. That's all he knew about doing. And Dink Wall too he came along. Dink hurt his leg too. But we had quite a cast, and that battle in Brooker at the end. So that was some football team.
Well, we're going to see a lot of those guys doing very, very well. Stay with us. The second half is coming up next on Bama's Greatest Games. The offense has been doing the job. John Forney on the field that afternoon were some incredible defensive players. And I guess a guy named Leroy Jordan probably pops out right at the top.
Leroy was just a junior, bless his bones, and Leroy and Darwin Holt, the two great linebackers, but they had help from Mike Fracchia and some others. But one guy I'd like to mention, he was a consensus All-American, and that's Billy Neighbors, who was right tackled, offensively and defensively. And Billy was a senior that year, and his teammates have told me that he made some plays, particularly in the Arkansas game, which is a Sugar Bowl game that Alabama won only 10-3 and had a tough afternoon. And they said Billy Neighbors played one of the greatest games that was ever played by a lineman. really saved Alabama that day. So I want to tip my hat to Billy. He's up in Huntsville, and of course he had a son that played, Wes Neighbors, and also Keith was a scholarship player for a while at Alabama. But his teammates have all told me about that senior year, how he was a deservedly offensive, all
Consensus
All-American.
Yeah. Well, the other two guys on that offensive and defensive line, a couple of Jimmies, Sharp and Wilson. I think Coach Bryan made the statement if he was going to Russia, he wanted them as his bodyguards.
That's right. He said, I want them on either side of me, Jimmy Sharp or Jimmy Wilson, and they would have been good ones, too.
Well, they're all going to do well. Let's go to the second half with Alabama already leading Auburn 24-0. Bama has the football at its own 33 to start the second half. Here's Dink Wall bouncing off tackles, winds up with 6 yards. 2nd and 4, Richardson in motion. Trammell to Wall again. He heads to the far side of Legion Field. 5 more yards and a first down at the 44. It's Wilson in motion this time. Trammell on the fake to Wall. Keeps it himself. Comes around left in. Almost gets his head taken off, but he picks up 3 to the 47. Wall gets 11 more to the Auburn 40. Then on this play, Dink drives inside the 35. Play makes 5 yards. 2nd and 5. Wilson in motion to the far side. Trammell again to Wall. And look at Dink Ramble. 14 yards he goes. First down Bama at the Tigers 20. This time Trammell fakes it to Wall. He wants to throw, but a Tiger defender tips it at the line. It's incomplete. 2nd and 10. Wall gets the football again. This time the Tigers finally stop him. A yard loss on the play, back to the 21. Now Bama needs a big gainer on 3rd and 11. Trammell drops back to pass. He finds Battle open at the 12. He gets away from the Tigers and goes to the 5-yard line. 1st and goal for the Tide. Here's Trammell with the toss to Wall, trying to get around this end, but Auburn's there to stop him at the 6. Dink, so far, has gained 40 yards on this drive. 2nd and goal, it's Richardson in motion. Trammell fakes to Wall. Trammell gets hit, and on his way down, Pat manages to get the ball to Richardson. He's in for the touchdown. That one's worth watching again. Look at Trammell now. Good fake. Cuts toward the goal line. Then with 3 Tigers on him, flips it to Billy. Bama opens the 3rd quarter with a 10-play, 67-yard drive. Davis comes on to kick the extra point, and Alabama's now on top, 31-0. Here's the kickoff. Brooker kicking it to Macon at the 12. And he's heading back upfield with lots of blockers in front, but Williamson jumps on him at the 35, brings him down at the 41. Hunt still at quarterback for Auburn. He's back to pass with Bob Petty bearing down on him. Hunt makes a nice play, getting the ball to McGeever. He manages to pick up 3 yards. Holt and Olinger blast him out of bounds. 2nd and 7, Hunt the deep snap, looking downfield, but he underthrows his intended receiver. Tigers now face 3rd and 7. Have to pass. Hunt deep, fakes, then dumps it off to Bobby Foray at the 45. Makes a nice run into Bama territory. First down at the Tide 46. Hunt's under center this time, but he's still trying to pass. It's way over the head of his receiver. Bama's Ray Abruzzi actually had the best chance of catching it. 2nd and 10, you're down by 21. You put the ball in the air, and that's what Hunt's doing. With Bama defenders all over him, he gets it away complete to McGeever. A dozen yards to the Bama 34, Holt on the tackle. First down Auburn, Hunt's rolling back, dumps it off to McGeever. He picks up 9 more yards to the Bama 25. Oliver stops him there. 2nd and 1, Hunt's coming this way, keeps it himself, gets the first down at the Bama 20. Richardson and Jimmy Wilson on the stop. Tigers really moving now. Hunt back to throw. Pressure from Neighbors, gets it away to Macon, Butch Wilson pops him down at the 14. 2nd and 4, Hunt in the deep formation, looking to a receiver at the 10, but look at Bill Battle knock the pass away, then intercept it. Bill regains his balance, returns it to the 16. After stopping the Auburn threat, Bama starts with Wall right up the middle, dinks out to the 19. 2nd and 7, Trammell with a pitch to Wilson coming this way. Butch gets a couple to the 21. Bama eventually punts it. The Tigers have the football at their own 37. Hunt drops back to pass. Jordan applies the pressure. It's complete to Simpson at midfield. Holt drops him at the Auburn 49. 1st and 10, short snap to Rawson. He's into Bama territory. Jordan, Clark, and Holt drag him down at the Tide 41. 2nd and less than a yard. Rawson the call. The first down at the Bama 37. Hunt's rolling the pass, drops it off to Davis. He picks up half a dozen. Jimmy Wilson stops him at the 31. 2nd and 4 again. Wayne Frazier snaps it short to Rawson. He rips through for another first down at the Tide 26. Tigers try this short snap to Rawson again. This time, neighbors Wilson and Jordan aren't fooled a bit. They drop him right at the line. 2nd and 10, Auburn can't run, so Hunt's throwing again, avoids the pressure. Clark intercepts it for the Tide, but he's out of the end zone. So it's 3rd down at the 26. Hunt deep to pass it again with a lot of pressure. He throws it well short of his intended receiver. Now it's 4th down, the Tigers' last chance. Hunt to try one more pass. It's tipped, and look who's there for the interception. Leroy grabs it at the 19, rolls back out to the 27. Bama stopped Auburn one more time, and that's the end of the 3rd quarter. The score is Alabama 31, Auburn nothing. We're through with 3 quarters of this 1961 Alabama-Auburn game, and John Forney, it was the 4th meeting between Bear Bryant and Shug Jordan, 2 legendary coaches, not only here in the South, but around the country. I always felt like those two had a great deal of respect for each other.
Tom, I don't think there's any question. As bitter rivals as they were, and they had to be, because in a state like Alabama, when you're competing for the players, when you're competing for general popularity, they had to be better rivals. But I'll say this, I know that Coach Bryant respected Coach Jordan not only for his coaching ability, which he certainly did, but I've heard him say this. Coach Jordan went into the Normandy beachhead on D-Day, June the 6th, not on Omaha Beach, but on Utah Beach. And Coach Jordan was there, I think, on the actual D-Day. And I've heard Coach Bryant say, you know, he said, I was in the Navy. He said, yeah, but said, I wasn't anywhere near what Shug was. Said Shug was a fighting man, and he had great respect for him.
Well, and obviously both of them fought as far as football was concerned, but one of the key battles they staged every year was the recruiting battle. And I always felt like that Coach Jordan obviously did a very good job, but that Coach Bryant set up perhaps the prototype for great scouting and recruiting, in that apparently his assistants knew every high school football coach there ever was in the state of Alabama.
Oh, I think so, and I'll tell you a cute story about Gene Stallings. And Gene told me this himself a long, long time ago. He may not remember, but he did. He said that because back then they used to sign players in the middle of December,
That's
so
right.
you only had about 10 days after the season was over, and it was intense to put it mildly. But Gene was on the road right after midnight. He could start signing people, and he was driving, and he came to some place like maybe Russellville, and the Alabama alumnus there said, Gene, you just look exhausted. He said, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. He said, stretch out a little bit. Said, it won't, and he said, no, I can't. Said, I got to go from here to wherever it was. I got to sign so-and-so. But anyway, he said, well, you just look exhausted. Stretch out. I'll wake you up in an hour. So Gene said, all right. Said, I will. So he just stretched out and said he hadn't been there about 30 minutes. The phone rang, and Coach Bryant said, where the hell is Stallings? He hadn't checked into so-and-so. So Gene got up out of bed and continued his mission.
That's amazing. Well, that's the story of recruiting, but that's the way they approached everything at Alabama back in 1961, and we're going to look at the 4th quarter of the Auburn game from that year next on Bama's Greatest Game. Back to 1961 Legion Field in Birmingham, Alabama, as we go into the fourth quarter on top of Auburn, 31-0. Alabama starts the final 15 minutes, a first down at its own 27. Clark right up the middle for 5 yards to a 32. 2nd and 5. Trammell the toss to Clark. He's headed right toward us, lowers his shoulder and picks up 3 more yards to a 35. Third and 2. John Olinger, the direct snap to Clark, and here's Cotton with a quick kick. It rolls and rolls and rolls. Finally down at the Auburn 6. It's a 59-yard punt by Cotton Clark. On first down, Hunt gives it to Ross, and he gets maybe a yard. The whole Bama defense stops him. 2nd and 9 at the 7. It's McGeever, just about the same result. A crimson wall stops him at the 9. Olinger leads the charge. 3rd and 7, the Tigers are punting it. Davis kicks it from his own end zone. Clark makes the fair catch at the Auburn 44. After a 5-yard penalty back to the 49, Trammell sends Clark in motion, and Pat's dropping back to pass. He fakes once, then he's sacked by the Tigers back at the Bama 46, a loss of 5 on the play. Now Trammell's rolling this way. He fires it complete to Williamson at the Auburn 30. Look at Richard pull his way on down to the 23, pick up a 31 on the play, and the Tide's rolling again. On first down, Trammell back to pass. He's looking for Dale Layton deep. Fires it, and Layton can't quite hold on to it. Second and 10 now, Bama staying in the air. Trammell spots Williamson at the Auburn 13. Richard has it, first down, Bama. Back to the ground, here's Eddie Versprilli with his first carry. He's down to the 10, but Bama catches a 5-yard penalty. So it's 1st and 15 at the 18, and Trammell wants a touchdown. He passes long to Williamson at the goal line. Richard can't get to it. It's incomplete. Second down, again Pat's throwing the football. He's looking to Wilkins at the 5-yard line, but the Tigers are there to break it up. On third down, Trammell to pass one more time. With a Tiger in his face, he fires it to Wilkins in the end zone, just a little high, and that brings up 4th down. That also brings in Tim Davis for a 34-yard field goal attempt. It's good, and Bama now leads the Tigers 34-0. Bama kicking off for the final time. Macon takes it at the 15. He's all the way back out to the 33 before Wall dumps him for the tie. On first down, Tigers go with the option. Hunt coming this way, turns the corner. He's to the 44. Bama's there, but at the last second, he tosses it to Macon. He's off and running. Looks like he might go all the way. Steve Allen makes the touchdown-saving tackle. Still, the play makes 45 yards to the Bama 22. Hunt throwing now. Looking at George Rose in the end zone, but reserve Ray Abruzzi is there to knock it away for the tie. Second down, Hunt tosses it to Rose going around right in. Hunt and Richardson finally stop him at the 15. It's 3rd and 3. Hunt fakes up the middle, wants to pass, has to scramble. Look at Neighbors and Holt wiped out by great blocks. Butch Wilson knocks Hunt out of bounds, but the Tigers have it 1st and goal at the Bama 2. And this Tide doesn't want to give up any points. The defenders don't on first down. Abruzzi and Jordan stop McGeever inside the 1. On second down, Hunt keeps it himself. He's almost in there, but look at Abruzzi. Stop him again. 3rd and goal, just inches to go. Here's Rawson trying to go over the top, but Leroy and Abruzzi meet him in midair. Still no Auburn touchdown. Final chance for the Tigers on 4th down. Hunt fakes it to Rawson. He's rolling out. Brooker hanging on to him. Throws for Laster in the end zone. Look at Butch Wilson break it up. Bama's held the Tigers 4 plays inside the 2-yard line. And for 1961, this is a Bama celebration. On 1st down, Tide just wants some room. Wall makes it only to the 1. 2nd down, Trammell again to Wall. He's out to the 2. And you know Coach Bryant's going to go with a 3rd down punt. Here's Colwell at the back of the end zone. Tigers have Malin Kent at quarterback now. He gives it to Rawson. Goes down to the 32. 2nd and 7. Hunt back under center, running the option to the far side. Cuts toward the goal line. He's down to the 20 before Clark knocks him off his feet. Hunt back to throw. Looking, hits Macon on the sideline, but Butch Wilson hits Macon. The pass goes incomplete. 2nd and 10, the toss to Rose. He makes a great run, bumping off Bama defenders. Wilson and Abruzzi finally stop him at the 15. 3rd and 5. Hunt gives it to Rose again, going off right tackle. He squirts through to the 11. Now it's 4th and 1. Hunt's gonna throw. But here comes Charlie Pell to sack him all the way back at the 19-yard line and end the Tigers' final threat of the day. Bama gets a 5-yard penalty back to the 14. Jack Hurlbut at quarterback carries it himself out to the 19. 2nd and 10 now. Hurlbut keeps it again, coming this way. He makes it out to the 22. It's 3rd and 7. Hurlbut again behind Eddie Versprilli. Jack Rembles for 8 yards, close to the 30. 1st down for the Tide. On the final play, Hurlbut just falls on the football. It's over. Alabama has finished its first perfect regular season under Coach Paul Bear Bryant, undefeated for the first time since 1945. The final, Alabama 34, Auburn nothing. Just beaten Auburn 34-0 back in 1961. John Forney, let's look at the highlights. Tide got a break early in this one when Darwin Holt recovered a fumble. And then
Billy from Jasper.
Yep, on a great pitch out, great run here, gets the first touchdown of the afternoon, Billy Richardson. Then in the 2nd quarter, we had a great 80-yard drive and 12 plays. And here is Pat Trammell hitting Bill Battle with a pass to set up the touchdown.
Counter option. 84 is Billy Battle.
Pretty darn good catch on the end of it. Fracchia did a lot of running in the drive. Trammell gets the touchdown.
That was Butch Wilson, too, I noticed. We hadn't mentioned him, and what a great football player Butch was. Mike Fracchia got that one.
Well, here's that play you were talking about. The dart, 20 yards to Richard Williamson. It's the one right at the end of the first half.
Great, perfect pass and good catch. I know it wasn't easy for Richard because that was a hot ball that was thrown.
Well, 24-0, the Tide's on top at halftime. In the 3rd quarter drive, Dink Wall, look at him running there.
Dink, I think, was from Valley, Alabama.
He got 40 yards on a 67-yard drive with some great running. And then a truly wonderful option play here. Look at Trammell. Hold it till the last second. Then pop it out there to Richardson.
Oh, what a great play.
Well, defense obviously very big in this one. Lots of pressure on the Auburn quarterback all day. And here's Bill Battle. We knew him as a receiver. He did a pretty good job on defense.
He received that one, didn't he?
Yes, he did. Made a pretty nice run back. And then later in the 3rd quarter, defense did it again. This time, a guy named Jordan's going to step in to intercept it. Lee Rhodes, pretty good run back there.
Pretty good tackle on the part of the Auburn boy, too.
Then we got Tim Davis, the start of the great Davis kicking family, a 34-yard field goal attempt. It's good. It was his 2nd of the game. That put Bama up 34-0. Then here's a great goal line stand. 4 plays inside the 2. Jordan, of course, great on it, but a guy named Ray Abruzzi did a nice job here making a couple of really good stops. And then Butch Wilson breaking up the pass in the end zone. A great Alabama celebration as the Tide beats Auburn 34-0. John, I've enjoyed looking at it.
And kept them shut out. That was quite an afternoon.
It was a great one. Hope you'll join us again next time for another of Bama's greatest game.